Welcome back to our DNA. It's been a while, but we're back. I'm Brandon Duplessis. We have Philip Price and, of course, David Medina. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
Doing
Yeah.
great.
I was just talking to you guys. I just got back. I just got married.
Congratulations.
Mitchell, thank you very much. We went to Cancun, and
Exciting.
she really wanted a destination wedding. I was okay. You know, I could have done it in our backyard, kind of thing. Like
Right.
that's that's where I was at with it. But she really wanted the destination wedding. Um, so we did that. We lost a few people though. It was a pretty small wedding. There was about 20
Oh,
people.
okay.
Yeah, there was about 20
That's
people.
perfect, though. It really is.
It, what was perfect about it is we got married. That was the most perfect part of it. And the day we got married, it was perfect. The weather was perfect. The sky was beautiful. Like there was no wind because we got married on the beach, so you could have
Wow.
you could have rain, you could have waves, all kinds of different things that could come up with weather and the location. I would say the only thing is it was hot. It was like I was sweating. Well, I was just
Oh, yeah.
but yeah.
Being
But
off the
luckily,
ocean, too. Did you get a little humidity there?
oh yeah, right when
Yeah.
you got off the airplane.
The airport. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I was in like sweats and a sweater because it's cold, until you
Yep.
get off the airplane and you're in Cancun. It was humid, but after a day or so, you get used to it. But
I never got used to it in Houston, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had to get out of there. That walking felt like you had the weight of the world on you because you perspire so much,
oh yeah, your body's trying to cool itself down.
Yeah. The first time I went to Houston, my cousin comes out with a big old white towel on his shoulder, and this is during the summer, and I'm like, and we were still in the house where it's air conditioning, and he had the towel.
Right.
Man, we walked outside. I said, Landis, can you get me one of those towels, man? Because you just want to wipe the perspiration off of you, because it's just you feel like you want to go take another shower, when you're not first getting that humidity.
And guess what I forgot with me when I was going to the wedding venue?
What?
No.
A towel. Yeah.
A towel.
I was ready. I was like, I'm gonna have a little towel. I'm just gonna have it ready to, wipe myself off, and I completely forgot it. Because
So
we got
that
there.
had to be a little uncomfortable, a little bit, because
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But you know what? It was like the good thing about it is everyone else is sweating too, right? So
Yes.
it's like
Yes. So it's not like you're the only one. Yeah.
exactly. Everyone's sweating. Everyone's hot. Just like your
Did
cousin.
you feel safe there in Mexico? Because there's been a lot of concerns down in Mexico.
You know what?
With the cartel and all that stuff.
I couldn't
No, it's
say.
safe in Cancun. Cancun's a safer spot.
Yeah.
It's a safe
Anywhere with a lot of people, anywhere with a lot of visitors, it's usually safer. They just say that. I mean, the bad parts are the ones, that you don't see every day.
But the last couple of times I went to Mexico, I haven't been back. I used to go every year with the kids and, as a family trip because we could have a great time. We're in a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Be near the ocean and just have fun, And we used to love it. And then the last two times I went, I was just telling David about my son got arrested. And so his girlfriend, it was $15 to get her out. And then the cops looked at me and said, well, it's 1,000 pesos. And they wouldn't take U.S. money. And I said, how much is that in U.S. money? They said, well, it's $700 and some dollars, whatever it was at that time. They said, no, but we want pesos. So luckily the cab driver could go to his bank and get the pesos. So we run into that. They take me back in the back room and I lost it. And I said, this will be the last time you see my black butt here. I'm out. And that's the last time, because the time before that, my daughter and her friends, the federales, pulled them over, said they thought they were doing drugs, and they were like 16, 17, man. So this is 20 years ago. And they strip searched them. And they come back all distraught. all this stuff. So the last two times I went, I haven't been back there in 20-some years.
Where were you at in
Mhm.
Mexico?
I went to Ensenada,
Mhm.
and I was in Cancun when that happened with my daughter. We used to stay at the JW there, the JW area right there on the beach. Yeah,
Those are definitely the things that, like, when you ask me if I felt safe, when you're in the hotel you feel safe, but like at one point she on Saturday she had to get her hair and makeup done,
Mhm.
and they don't let them in the hotel. Like you have to pay like a $800 a day for a day pass or some shit. It was like expensive. So
Wow.
Really?
yeah, we took a taxi for $100, go down to Playa del Carmen to meet with the hair people and makeup. And I don't know where in Playa del Carmen we were, but it wasn't like, I don't think it was the happening spot. I don't think it was like where people go. We were off to
Yeah.
the side where the people live a little bit, and they had a cool little thing going on. There was a mall there, outdoor type mall, which felt safest. But as soon as you walked outside of that, there was just like people hustling. There was just all kinds of stuff going on, and
Right.
everyone's scam was like, "Hey, remember me? I'm your waiter from the hotel." And it's like,
And you go,
like,
no, I don't remember you.
like, but this one dude kind of got me because he did look like our waiter from the hotel the night before. Like he did look very similar. And I was trying to get Val a gift before the wedding so I could give her a gift right before we get married. Like, just not like I'd give it to someone to give to her. So the guy was like, "Here, come look at my uncle's jewelry store." And I was with Devin and Cameron, and they were like, "Dad, don't do it." And I was like, "It's cool. Like, I just want to see what they have, anyways, because I wanted to get her a gift." I go in there. He shows me this bracelet. He's like, "Oh, look at the stones. They change color," which they did. They were pretty dope looking. I was like, "How much is it?" He was like $4,900. I was like, "What for this bracelet? That's probably not even like anything real other than
Yeah.
metal." And next thing you know, he's like, "Well, it's almost Christmas, so I'll give you a discount." He moved it down to $1,900, and I was like, "You know what?" I was like, "I'm good. Let's go, boys.
No, I
I'm out
want
of here."
some paperwork when if I'm going to spend that kind of money. I want some paperwork to saying this is something that
Yeah,
has some value because
Yeah.
down there
I,
there's
I thought he'd
I
say like
really
two
don't
hundred
get
dollars,
it.
something cheap, but like nothing. It didn't feel like it was cheaper in Mexico kind of thing, which
Really.
Yeah.
I thought it would, but it
Well,
didn't.
it used to be really cheap. I mean, 20 years ago, you could go down there, man. Your whole family have a
Mhm.
fantastic time, and it wasn't. I mean, that's why we did it a lot because it was $2,000-3,000 in for a week. You know, I mean,
Nah,
it was so affordable, so
Yeah.
nice.
It's when they know that the tourists have money, that's when they upcharge you because they
they
know that
try
they're gonna get a buck out of you.
exactly.
Mhm.
But if we would have went to like where the locals are, I'm sure it would have been cheaper. Uh,
100%.
but
But
we
any of
were,
the tourist traps, they're gonna charge you more. All the
Yeah.
tourist traps.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
you know, where the restaurants and everything, they're a little bit more expensive. You know, but that's been my experience. But that's 20 years ago when I went there. I haven't been to Mexico in a long time. My
yeah,
daughter went not too long. She was happy with it. I haven't
Mhm.
been there in a while.
yeah, it would be nice to be able to like explore Mexico and feel that safety or security, but like I'd have to be with like a real like someone I really trust or know, probably someone knows the area, speaks Spanish, like
At
all.
least Spanish, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to have all the above, and it didn't feel like that for me. So we stay at the hotel pretty
Yeah.
much.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's what I do when I'm in Cancun. David's going to Thailand. That's gonna be
Yep.
beautiful.
I just booked a trip for February.
hey,
Yeah.
dope.
That's gonna be a beautiful trip.
Yeah. Got that
And it's
raise and I
very
figured I'd treat myself.
affordable. You can
Mhm.
treat yourself, I mean, they call them passport bros that they're in my age group and they go move there because they want to live off their social security, not, their savings and stuff. And they living good for 2 grand. I mean, $1,800 a month. Apartment with an ocean view, $500.
Yeah.
Damn.
1 bedroom, fully furnished.
Damn. Who
It's
you
beautiful.
going with, David?
You know what? Hopefully my mom doesn't watch this. I'm going by myself.
Nice.
Yeah. None of my friends could afford the trip, so I figured I need to get out of this country at least once in a while.
Oh, you're gonna have fun though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Huh?
beautiful people there.
I just want to try a new country. I've never been outside of North America, Mexico, Canada. That's all I've been to.
Yeah, we were in Scotland and we were in a bar like 2,000 years, and then they took us to a castle, and the beds were so tiny, and I'm like, this huge, humongous room and these little beds. He says, well, you got to understand, this was built in 1200 something, and the average person was 4'4", he said, 4'3". He said Napoleon was only 4 foot something. Right. I mean, the beds were so tiny. I mean, and the giant was the person that grew to be 6 feet and stuff.
Yep.
Oh, I was a giant then. I would have been
Yeah, what are you, 6'4", 6'3", 6'5"?
6'6". I'm 6'6".
6'6", yeah, you would be a giant there. That
Yeah.
was a giant. And I mean, it was so, I mean, the beds were just tiny, and you look at these massive fireplaces and massive room in this little old bed. The people were so small then.
Different time. Yeah, so you got to see quite a bit. Where else have you traveled to that you would recommend, Philip?
Oh, I've been to Scotland, Portugal, Spain, England, Italy. Italy is, you got to go to Italy. Affordable, beautiful. Affordable, but you got to go off season. You don't want to go when all the celebrities go over there, because everything triple prices.
Oh.
Like, we stayed in a 5-star hotel in Sorrento, Italy, and it was only $150 a night.
Oh, wow.
During the hot season, because we went right after the hot season, and beautiful, breathtaking. We went to Capri, went to all those beautiful spots, man. What a beautiful country. The food's great, and the price. I mean, a meal there is the same as what we would pay here, about $50, because it was like 54 euros, which was the equivalent to like $58 US.
Wow.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
beautiful, affordable. Oh yeah, it was gorgeous. I would definitely go back there again, and I would go back to Portugal. Portugal was beautiful too. I like Portugal. Spain was absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I love Spain. Yeah, I love traveling though, because you get a chance. Like we were driving through Edinburgh, Scotland, and they said, "Oh, we're going through the new part, 350 years old." And then you see the other parts that are thousands of years old, and you're like, it's just really the history. I think any kid that's studying history should be given the gift. Because when you're in a classroom and you talk about things that are 3,000 years ago, it just seems like a myth, because we don't see nothing here that's over 200 some years old.
Yep.
Right.
But when you're in a castle that was built in the 1200s, I mean, you're like, oh my God, they built this.
Yeah.
I mean, they must have worked on these things for umpteen million years. They didn't have no cranes and stuff to lift these big old stones.
All manpower.
Yeah.
Crazy. Just amazing. But I love traveling, and I would like to do some more. I want to go to Thailand. That's one place.
There you go.
In the Philippines, I want to go to.
I'm excited for Thailand. I've been doing a lot of research on it, and it just seems like a beautiful place. And like you said, affordable. I figured that's my best option. Something that I can afford, and I can, the expensive part's the trip, the flight. It was like $1,000. Well, it was like 800 something, so it was closer to 900 if anything. But I just bought that. Next month, once I get paid, I'm gonna get my hotel, and then from there, I'm just gonna save up and.
Well, the hotel, they say,
Awesome,
depending where you want to stay, you can find something for $40 a night. $40
Yep.
in a nice
Yep.
hotel.
That's what I'm looking at. So I'm looking at what's close to all the action, so I can go and go to the beach and do all that. And then where I'm going exactly is an island where there's like a part of it that's like for the younger crowd, like a party crowd, and then the other side is the beach crowd. You can just go and relax by the beach, get massages for like I think they're like $10 over there. Like
Oh
dude,
yeah,
that's the
oh
max.
yeah. I've
Like
been
something
watching that
really
on
cheap.
YouTube, and I'm like, man, I
Yeah.
gotta get out of here and go. I mean, because you can spend like your week there. If you spend $1,000, you're gonna be having fun.
Yeah.
You're gonna
That's
be
my
spending money. $1,000 for a week there, you're gonna be spending
yeah.
money.
Speaking of, I guess let's. I think it would be a good way to transition into more financial stuff as our podcast is about. Um, I've noticed that now this new promotion I've told you guys about last time that we talked. Um, I'm pretty much kicking butt. I really am. Like I've already made the company in half of a month, $50,000, which is pretty solid for somebody who's just getting started. And on top
Yeah.
of that, I'm also getting and that's just on back end, which means I'm finding the deals now. Before it was just the deals I'm calling out on. So I'm still doing well on those, which is a separate commission. So now I'm getting basically 2 or 3 different payments from one transaction. So now that I'm making more money, I'm like, okay, well, I got to treat myself. I got to learn to invest. I'm not just trying to blow it out like a bunch of my, people my age. So I'm trying to, what would you guys recommend? You guys talked about your first time getting that big check, and I feel like that's going to be my first big check. What do you guys recommend for somebody my age, and what should I do?
I would say definitely save though, man. So I would tell any young person save, and always be afraid of the rainy day because they do come.
True.
The rainy days. Am I right, Brandon? Do the rainy days come?
You are so right. And my uncle had told me this when I had first started making money, and I rented a bigger house, and started driving a nicer car, and and this is the uncle, and him and I don't talk much. He lives in a different state, and whatever it may be, and he's pretty reserved himself, anyways. But he's the most successful one in my family by far.
Yeah.
And him and I just went down the street to grab some more beer for the house, and then come back. And in that one drive, he told me so many little things. But one of the first things he said was pretty much be careful with your money, because money comes and goes. Your money's flowing in right now, but it doesn't always come like that. Money comes and goes, and just be prepared is what he was telling me for the rainy days. Because, and in my mind, I was like, what are you talking about? I'm making money every month right now.
You never think it's going to stop. When you're young, you think, I'm going to do this forever.
Yeah, I got this down. I figured it out.
Think about the bad days.
I cracked the code,
Right.
So,
I'm in now. Mm-hmm.
But without a doubt, there's ebbs and flows. There's months you'll make 50,000, then there's a month you'll make 2,000, and you're like, oh damn, right?
Yeah.
So if anything, like Philip says, prepare for the rainy days. Put a certain amount aside if you can. Invest in yourself, like you said. What you're doing.
Yeah.
It's good to enjoy, but definitely save and put money away, because it does slow down. And when that slowdown happens, if you're used to spending your money and living, say, a $10,000 life, you're used to spending $10,000 a month because of your rent, because of this, and all of a sudden you don't have that $10,000 a month.
Yeah,
you've screwed yourself, and now you're just in a position that doesn't feel good, man.
Yep.
Well, the thing I would tell any person too is, if you think things are going to make you happy, then you're going down the wrong road. It never made sense to me when I was a young man why, like I told you guys the story maybe of my attorney, it's a billionaire family, but he lives so modest, I would have never guessed it. And it makes sense now, because if you deny yourself, but you enjoy what's really valuable, a big house ain't going to make you. One of the worst investments I've ever done. I built this 7,500 square foot house for my kids and my family. And my kids said, Dad, when we were all together, my ex-wife, the kids, grandkids, and they said, Dad, you know, the one place we didn't like living, and what? That big house. And I says, really? You know which house we like best? The smaller house. He says, they told me stories. They had keggers downstairs because we soundproofed the downstairs because we didn't want to be yelling, turn that damn music down,
Yeah.
right? They had 75 kids downstairs and we were upstairs sleeping.
Damn.
They told me stories and I said, you guys are lying, right? This ain't true. We were upstairs. There's no way you did that. We had alarms on the gates, on everything. So we're assuming that we would hear the gate. If they set this thing all up, they knew their friends were coming up. So, and it would, the
You're
50 Cent
disconnected.
said it best. 50 Cent said it best. He bought Mike Tyson's old house. He says, I'll never do that again, ever. He says, I paid cash for it, so I'm assuming it wouldn't cost that much to run it. It was 56,000 square feet. He said, if I told you what that damn thing cost a month,
Just to
he
maintain.
finally sold it to a church, and the church, you know, they made it into a mega church. And he says, he was so happy to get off of that. He says, I'll never do that again. He said, I don't care for the big house. I don't want no part of it. Because the upkeep, that house cost us $3 million to build it. And to maintain, the whole time I ain't never lived in no big house. So I'm thinking that electric bill came the first month and it was like $3,000. I'm going, whoa, excuse me? The guy that bought the house from me paid cash for it. And he's from Pakistan. And he said, Phil, why didn't you tell me this house costs $5,000 a month, $6,000 a month to maintain? He said, I bought this thing because he bought it out of bankruptcy. And he paid only $1 million for it. He says, if I knew it cost $6,000 a month, because that's the gardener, because it's on 3 acres, you got a pool service, you got, I mean,
Electric bills, all the above. Yeah. So
everything is quadruple what you were normally used to.
You know what?
So being
Speaking
smart
of,
with your money is something I would preach over and over again. And deny yourself. The hardest person to deny is yourself.
so
Because
this
you'll
is
tell
my
yourself, I deserve this.
Yeah.
I deserve that Mercedes. I deserve that $100,000 car. I deserve that. But you know, people that really think about the long-term thing, they say, well, I can't afford it now.
Yeah.
And some of the richest people I've ever met, they don't want you to know they're rich. They really don't. They don't want that pressure that comes with it because people judge you different when you have a lot of money.
Yeah. So
But if you
here's
keep
my
it looking like you're normal, and you're normal, they can't throw stones at you.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Because you're
Yeah.
just starting out, David, and I'm guarantee you listen to this and you saying, yes, I got to do the same thing, keep it going like I do, because spending it Chad Ochocinco said it best. I like seeing it coming in better than I like seeing it going out. He said that. He says, when it leaves, it's gone, man. You ain't getting that back.
they coming
Says,
back.
I like seeing it coming in. He drives what's that little Mercedes small car what's that little 2-door?
CLK. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little tiny car. And people give him all kinds of stuff about it because it's just a little old tiny car. It's just good.
But I like what you said. Deny yourself.
Yeah.
Deny yourself because it's hard to do. What were you gonna say, David?
Yeah, I was trying to say that my plan is right now, it's, obviously I did treat myself with the whole Thailand trip. That's just something I never treat myself like that. I usually save. But right now that I'm going to start making more money, my plan is to move out of my house and get like a small home, maybe like a mobile home, something that's not too much overhead, not too much space, but somewhere where I can rent out to like some of my friends. So I can have like 1 or 2 friends. They can help pay most of the rent. I'm the one that put in initial payment. So I figure they'll pay more of the rent. I'm
Smart.
paying, I mean, the mortgage, that'll be part of the mortgage right there. And then that way I can save as much as I'm saving now. And then I will need a new car in the next year or two. I don't want anything flashy. I'm not going to get myself a Lexus or an Audi or anything like that. But I would definitely want a newer model of, like a Honda that I drive now or something like
Right.
that. So that's
But
my plan, those 2 steps. And then from there, just save or invest into other things that, I want to learn how to do better at, like my business. I'd invest in that or stuff like that. So that's
just
my
remember,
idea right now.
cash is king. Cash
Mhm.
money. When you have that sitting in the bank, there's a lot of security that you will feel, which will also make you a better business person.
Mhm.
Well, and that's going to be my advice too right now in your situation, David. And there's never the best time, but timing is everything.
Yeah.
So, you're in a position where you're making the money now, and technically you don't have to leave your spot, or you have the time to continue to save. So,
Yeah.
because we are heading into a somewhat recession or worse in this economy,
They saying, did you see the housing report that they were talking?
what's that?
Oh, they saying it might go back. Remember how bad it was in '08?
Yes.
They're
Really?
predicting they didn't see the signs. Horton is
They
one of
never.
the biggest builders, and they're putting
Mhm.
$100 and some thousand to try to move new inventory.
Wow.
So what's going to happen in 2008, and I was part of the mortgage industry. You didn't have to be part of the mortgage industry to know this, but
Yeah.
even myself, I've been waiting. I bought my house when I did because I have a family and I needed the space, and we're having another son. But even my wife and myself, like my plan is to wait for the correction to happen, like Philip saying,
Mhm.
2008, 2009. And I was at the time I looked at a mobile home too in 2016 just to like have a space that was cheaper,
Yeah.
and those were going for like 200,000. But that same mobile property, and this is like a nice modular home, it had 3 bedrooms, had a backyard, had a garage, it had everything,
Yeah.
so it was like a nicer one. That same property was selling for like 60,000 in
Wow.
2008, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
and that's what
probably.
it's on YouTube. Look it up, and it was talking about DJ Horton, which is the biggest builder in the United
Yeah.
States. They are they stopped building. There's so much inventory, they're saying,
Wow.
that they can't move, and they're putting $150,000 on some of these as high as $250 on $1 million properties
Really?
to move it.
So
But think
there's
about if
buyers.
you bought that a year and a half ago, you're in the tank. 250,000 if you paid $1 million for it.
Mm-hmm. I looked at a property in Reno for 750,000. It was nice, perfect. It was Toll Brothers build.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God I didn't buy that property in 2007. Is when I was looking at it, because by 2008 and 9, that same property was selling for like 300, 250. So
Wow.
I literally could have owned that home, been paying $6,000 a month for a mortgage, and some young kids could have moved in next to me the next month or a year later and been paying $2,500 for the same house.
But
Because
here's what happened in 2008 and 9. I owned 6 properties at that time. I had one in Reno, I had one in Mississippi, I had 2 in the Bay Area, and I had the house in Red Bluff, and then I had another house in Red Bluff. I panicked sold because I had a house it's called Brickyard in Richmond. It's overlooking the Bay Bridge, 3rd floor condominium, 2,200 square feet. And they were doing all those fire sales,
Mhm.
and I sold it for like 400 and some thousand. I owed 750 on it at that time. My friend Charles, during that same period, says, "No, I'm gonna just hold on to mine." He got renters in it, kept it. The house he kept that he owed 300 at the time, it's worth $1 million now. So panic, I wouldn't say panic, but now I would wait till after Trump gets in there before you do anything, David. I'd say give 25. If you were one of my sons or my grandson, I would say Don't do anything until you get a year under your belt. Would you agree with that, Brandon?
I would agree. I think
And tuck away. Stay where you are. Tuck, tuck,
tuck
tuck.
away. Put it in some secure
Right.
asset that will give you some growth. You know, even if it's something like CDs, find or something. There's other things that can get you somewhere between 5 and 10% on your money. And just put that like Philip said, cash is king. So you want to put that cash away. You want to put it in something solid. And then in say the end of 2025 or the beginning
You're
of
gonna
2020,
really know where we are. You're gonna
when
know.
everything drops,
Okay.
that's when you
jump in.
You can probably buy yourself 2 properties and still rent one of those properties out to other people, and
Amen.
one for you and your boys. And
Wow.
make,
That's true.
because that's so the biggest part is like Philip said, deny yourself right now in the sense of delayed gratification, because you're making the money.
That's the perfect saying. Say it again.
Delayed gratification. I'm telling you.
Delay the gratification. Okay.
The car, you know, that scenario, when it comes time, you know, get your Honda, get your, you know, simple payment, you know, something $300, you know, don't stretch yourself. But as much as you can put away and plan to buy a house when the market drops, that would be my most solid advice. And I think Philip would agree, is be patient.
I'm gonna look up that thing and I'm gonna send it to both of you, because it was pretty scary. They expected to be worse than 2008. You remember how bad it was? And then it was only in certain pocket areas. They are saying Georgia, California, Arizona, Florida. They named like 7, 8 states where DJ Horton has just done massive builds. And now they got all this inventory.
Yeah, and it's just a
it's
matter
not
of time.
it's the Toll Brothers, it's all of them. On the thing, the Toll Brothers is number 3 builder in the United States. And number 2 was who was it? It was somebody, the name I had heard before, and they said all of them. And they were showing the rebates. So what it's doing, it's killing the resale homes. Think about it. You know, you in that house and you owe $750, and they're selling that same house, but they're giving $250,000 rebates.
Yeah.
So you're really only paying $580 for it. So what do you think that house is worth?
It's just dropping.
They're underwater, and that's what they're saying, and they feel that's going to be. They said, wait till Trump get in there, see where this thing goes. Do not. I'm gonna talk to you like you're one of my kids or grandkids. Do not do anything until 2026, when you see where the market settles.
Okay.
Then, when it's at that low level, because the people that jumped in 08 and 09 and bought that stuff cheap, that property I sold for $500 that was worth $750 at the time, that thing is worth $1 million something now.
And that's why timing's everything, right?
Because I'd rather be lucky than good.
Yeah.
Walking in the right door at the right time, I can't tell you, that can make a difference.
And it takes patience for timing, right? It takes patience and faith, because we could be talking about it right now. And just like my uncle told me, the ebbs and flows come. I didn't understand it at the time. But once it starts happening, that's when you're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. So for you, if you can stack your chips as much as possible, like you're doing, take your trip to Thailand, enjoy yourself. Like, you deserve it.
That's affordable. You're not going to England, where a hotel would cost you $400 a night. You know, just the hotel.
So enjoy your trip, but like other plan, stack that, put that away, put it in something that's going to give you something, like even if it's a CD or some type of fund that's at least giving you some type of return on that money, even for a year. That way it's not just doing nothing, right? Inflation's happening. Inflation's happening. And of course, you know, I sell gold and silver. I wouldn't suggest, if you're buying a property, to put it in gold and silver right now, even though I think it's going to rise over the next year. But you don't want to deal with the cost of buying and selling, right? You want to just kind of you want to put your cash, like Philip said, cash is king. You want to put your cash aside until you're going to spend it on the property, right?
Amen. And
If you
wait
were
till the
putting it,
market settles, because it's going to settle. That's what they're all predicting. And because we got a new president coming in, we got all this stuff that's happening. This would be the worst time, I think, to invest in real estate. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, because it's all about timing and being smart.
Yeah.
I did a lot of crazy things. And somebody, Brandon, you say you got to stop right at 7. I do too. So, but
okay.
I had I had a jet that was the dumbest thing. The best, most fun I ever had in my entire life. Stupidest thing I've ever done. Because a
Those
jet
things
is
tend to
very
happen.
expensive to operate and own.
Yeah.
And then what was my son, Tyler, he was 16 at the time. He says, Dad, charter the plane, charter the boat, charter all this stuff, if I'd have listened to him, because I had a place in Tahoe, man, that families were begging me it was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, condo.
Yeah.
Right near, oh shit, what's the fabulous ski place? And I wouldn't rent it because I had new furniture and I was, so
Yeah,
if
you
you're
should
gonna buy this
rent
stuff,
that all
think
day.
about, I'm gonna tell you what my 16-year-old son told me. I'm gonna tell you, buy it with intent on how I can make money off of it.
Yeah.
Don't absorb the whole cost yourself. Anything you do, look at it, how can I make this into, like even when you buy the house, buy a 4-bedroom or 3-bedroom, and maybe it's a higher payment than you would want, but be thinking, I'm going to rent out 2 or 3 rooms and get the majority of the rent.
That's why I like your strategy, David.
Strategy, yes.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
You got the right idea with what you were thinking. One, thank you for even bringing it up and asking us, because I appreciate it. And most people are too scared to, ask those questions, right? So I hope we get more of them. But yeah, the biggest advice we have is what you're doing is the right answer. Just wait until the right time.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, like when I met my wife, and she came from a very successful family, and you got to understand that when I met her, I was like 28, and I'd never saved a dime in my life.
Yeah.
I was a Leo. If you want to know what I was worth, just ask me how much I had in my pocket. If I had $2,000 in my pocket, that's what I was worth that day. And she said to me, we're not going out for a year. And I go, and we both were working now. She says, we're not going out. That was the first time I'd ever saved. Between her and I, we saved $50,000.
Wow.
Cash is.
Hey, we just got married, and that's our goal. We're like, hey, this year we're not doing all the things we've done. We're not doing we're saving money this year because we've been spending.
And it's so easy to do, though. And don't you think it's so easy to just say, I deserve this?
When you see it in your bank account sitting there, and that's why I say put it somewhere, David, because if it's just sitting there, it makes you want to spend it when it's in your bank account.
Yeah.
So, all right, boys,
put it
7
where
o'clock.
it's locked away, like in a CD that you can't. You're gonna pay a penalty if you go and cash it out.
Exactly.
That's why I would say do CDs. They're not gonna make you rich, but they're gonna give you at least a return on your money.
Exactly. Have a good night and make tomorrow a better day. Something like that. I don't know.
Amen. But that's a good enough saying. Let's do it.
You know what? I always like to say, you know what? God loves you. He ain't mad at you. So have it a good night. Have a good day. That's
Amen. Let's go.
Have a good one, guys.